Well, hello, Juno, and welcome to Juno's Open House. I'm Ericka Lee, your host tonight, and thank you for spending your Saturday evening right here with me. Now, if you have been tuned in, you know that we're going through, if you were tuned in the previous weeks that we've been filming, you know we're going through the buyer's process, what you have to do to purchase a home. The entire process takes it used to take 30 days, but nowadays it takes about 45 days to get through the entire process. The first week we started with, getting approved for a mortgage, getting pre-approved, making sure you have your down payment. And then now, this week, we are talking about the home inspection process. So we have a special guest with us here, Mr. Daniel Shetke. Hi, Daniel.
Hello, Ericka. How are you tonight?
I am absolutely fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we've worked together quite a few times. Yeah.
Done a lot of them.
I will tell you, let me back it up. Daniel is a home inspector, and you're licensed, right?
Yep.
How does that work? You have to be...
So in the state of Alaska, you have to pass a test,
Yeah.
and then you have to get your not only a business license but a professional license. And to have the professional license, you have to be bonded and insured.
Okay.
So Alaska's a little more lax on what they're required, but the insurance and the bonding is still there. And very important.
And I just found out that you were trained by someone here in town. Who trained you to be a home inspector?
John Cooper of Integrity Real Estate, and he's been doing it now for a long time.
Yeah,
like
you got trained by
15 or 20 years going on that, something like that.
Yeah. So I did not know that.
Yep, and I still occasionally shoot him a question when I run up against something really weird that I have never seen before. I'm like, what on earth?
What is this? So, okay, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen before in a home inspection?
Oh, that's so I did a house up in Haines that was out a little ways, out in the path, and the home, they did a pretty good job. They had like a foundation under the middle of the house. It's like a cabin size. Mm-hmm. But then they decided to put two wings on it. But they put those wings on just posts with like the little pier blocks you'd use for a deck.
Oh, okay.
And so the posts were leaning, out.
Yeah.
And the house was cracking pretty bad, and it was a mess. And I was like, I'm sorry. So yeah, it was a post sale inspection, which was a post sale. Not a good call.
So right, okay. So let's cover that. I didn't even think to talk about that, but you want to make sure you're getting your home inspection done before you close on your house. So what really usually happens is that you put in an offer. The person accepts, and there is an inspection period. Now, the standard here in Juneau, Alaska is that the inspection period happens over the course of 20 days. However, if you have like a really weird house and you're going to need some extra time, like you need a home inspector, and then you need an engineer, and then you're going to need this, that, and the other, you can put in your contract, speak to your realtor about this, there's my disclaimer, but you can put a longer inspection period time in there to allow for all of these things that need to happen, because you could go in for an inspection, things get fixed, and then you need a second inspection done on that very subject that was causing some problems. So you want to make sure you have enough time. Again, 20 days is usually enough for a standard home here in Juneau, even with some weird things happening. Again, you speak to your realtor, but I do not recommend a post-sale inspection because there are no takebacks.
Yep, exactly. I mean, so for this person, like the issue was that, well, she was trying, because she got royally messed over with it, because like she's got this house now that has a bad foundation, and the house is starting to have major problems, and it's going to continue to have more major problems. And so she just wanted, basically she was calling me in to just verify, yes, this was a pre-existing issue. And I warned her like up front, like I can't like there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah,
I can't. So anyway, whereas if, you know, if the person had gotten the inspection ahead of time, then they would have known, oh, this is a problem, and either gotten it fixed or walked away. So
exactly.
Yeah, so don't do it.
Don't do that. Please don't do a post-sale inspection. You're just really setting yourself up, because it's not like you get a receipt and you can give the house back. So, yeah. So let's look at a few things. So you do your home inspection. How much do you charge to get the home inspections done?
Prices vary. My
Okay.
usual rates. So if you're going for a condo, because there's not a whole lot to do with the condo, you know, I'm doing paint to paint.
And before we move on, just to let you know what paint to paint is, because we have people that don't know, may not know anything about real estate, but paint to paint means that you are responsible for this side of the paint all the way to the other side of the room to that side of paint. You are not responsible for the things that are behind the walls. And each condo varies with what you're responsible for. But that's what he means when it's
exactly.
you're responsible for paint to paint.
Exactly. So they don't have crawl spaces or attics that you're responsible for, and so it's a lot less. So I normally charge $400 for those. Mobile homes, I charge $450. Most single family homes, I charge $500. And then if it's a big one, like we're talking over 2,500 square feet, I do normally charge extra, or if it has an additional separate apartment attached, because then you're doing another little mini inspection. And those normally are around the 600 mark, unless it's absurdly large with an apartment. Those are very big. And all those prices include a re-inspection, which she was talking about before. So after you get the inspection done and you negotiate repairs with the seller, I will come back after they've done the repairs and verify for you that they've done them and that they did them at least sufficiently. And so that's part of what you're paying for in it. No extra charge on that, whereas some inspectors do charge you the fee for the inspection, and then they have an extra fee to come back and check those and do the re-inspections. So.
Yeah. You have fantastic prices, and I would say any inspector is worth every single dollar, because it's a big chunk, $500 to $800. I've seen up to $800 for like just a small home, but it's worth every penny because it's saving you on the back end. But I'll tell you, Daniel in particular is worth every single dollar, and I'm pretty sure this was the first inspection that we did together. It was a house downtown. And there was like space in between the interior wall and the exterior wall.
Yeah, it had like the little weird like Eve attics.
Yeah. And he walked through the walls of the house to inspect that there was nothing wrong with it. I was so impressed. And you can hear it's like a ghost, you know.
It was a house for hiding bodies, that's for sure.
I'll tell the owner that now. It's a good tool to have, I suppose, in life. No, not really.
Don't do it. I don't want to find a body in there.
Or anywhere. That will be a weird thing during an inspection.
I wouldn't even know what to do.
Okay, you call John Cooper for that. What do I do? So what kind of things do you check for? We want to make sure people have a good impression or idea of what they're getting from a home inspector. Do you go into the walls? Are you going to see bugs? Because we have, what are those bugs called that are here in town that are awful?
I think we have, like, are you talking about like do damage to wood? Or are you or are you talking about something else?
Okay, so we have termites, of course, but there's some bug, especially downtown, that likes to eat away at the house.
I think we have Carpenter Ants.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
And I actually don't think I'm not sure we do have termites, but we definitely do have Carpenter Ants, though so far, all the houses I've done, I haven't seen any signs of those yet. So,
okay.
Which is good.
It is fantastic. So what kind of things do you catch? What are you looking for?
What am I looking for? So when I'm walking into your home, I am looking at what I can see. So it's primarily a visual only inspection. So I won't be poking holes in. So on the sellers, this is a relief. I'm not going to be poking holes into their walls. I'm not going to be ripping up their flooring or pulling apart appliances. I'm going to be walking around. I'm going to be looking at what I can see visually. And so that means that there are some things that are going to be almost impossible for me to catch unless they're at a certain point of deterioration. But for the most part, a lot of the major concerns are going to show. So, for example, if you've got water leaking in through your roof and it's getting as far as and it's getting into the walls, normally the drywall is going to start to bubble or start to warp or something that will allow me to see it. But with that, though, I don't just walk around the inside of your house. I'm going to if you have a crawl space, I'm going to be popping open the hatch. I'm going to be going down in the crawl space, even if it's a trailer, and I'm army crawling through the whole thing and climbing over axles. And then if
I believe it, I totally believe it.
And then you know, as much as I can. I'm skinny, but I'm not super skinny. And then if it has an attic that I can access, I'll be crawling around in the attic. And then so long as it's not a metal roof and it's not raining or blowing tremendously, I'll even be getting up and walking on the roof, you know, with limitations again. If it's a metal roof, if it's raining really hard, if it's blowing, or if the pitch of the roof is, you know, like this, I won't be getting up on that. But so I do everything I can, but I am limited by what I can see, and I do have some tools that can help, like a moisture meter. You know, if I see that bubbling in the wall, I can you know, put that up there and make sure that there's no moisture. But yeah, does that about answer your question?
It does.
What we're looking for?
It does, and honestly, majority of the problems, not everything, but a lot of problems do show symptoms that you can catch visually.
For sure.
And you do also check appliances as well, right?
Most of them. There's a couple I don't. So I don't check refrigerators because even if I open up a refrigerator and it's cold, I can't guarantee for you that it still means it's working, because it could have died 2 days ago and it just hasn't been opened, and so it's still cold. So refrigerators I don't touch unless, of course, I walk in and there's, you know, a big giant puddle under the refrigerator, and then it's like, oh, hey, that's a problem. Also, I don't run the washer or the like clothes washer or the clothes dryer. That's just too hard to verify anything. I do check the connections for those, so I make sure that we're not leaking at the water supply lines. I make sure that you've got the proper kind of ducting going out of the dryer. And you know, of course, if I walk in and it looks like it's from the 50s and it's rusting, corroding, I'll probably say something for you and say, hey, you might want to think about that. So appliances I do check. I do check like the boiler, furnace, whatever the heat source is. I will check do a limited check of your dishwasher, of your oven, run the fans, things like that. Yeah.
I mean, I think you cover all the bases, you know, as best as you can. So what are things that you can't check for?
What are things that I can't check for? There are a lot of older homes in Juneau. Thing that before we knew that using lead in paint was bad and that asbestos was an issue. So when I walk into one of those older houses, if I see things that make me suspicious that they might be there, I will let you know, but I can't actually tell you, yes, there is asbestos here. I can't verify for that or check or test it for you. I also can't check the insulation value inside your walls, because I can't see inside your walls. Let's see.
Are you able to do energy ratings or?
I do not have that certification.
Oh,
to
okay.
Do that.
Okay.
It's something I should look into doing, especially if John Cooper thinks about stepping down in the near future.
Yeah.
But so at the moment, I don't do those yet.
Okay.
But yeah, so I can't check the wiring in your walls.
Right.
I'll take a look at the service panel, and tell as much as I can there. I check a representative number of outlets to make sure they're wired properly, and I wiggle them, make sure that they're not just about to fall out or anything like that. If in mobile homes, I can't check unless they've already taken. So in order to ship up a mobile home or just transport anywhere, they put under the house. I call it a belly wrap. There might be a more technical term, but basically it's a piece of in older homes it's cardboard. In newer homes it's like almost like the same material that like a tarp's made out of. Underneath to keep spray from as they're driving down the road from getting up inside it. And so, and that they just leave that on there, and that also has the insulation for the home in it. And so I don't rip that down to check like your plumbing or your anything that might be under the floor there. So I am limited on that. I think that's just about it. And then the other thing is safety. So if there's an aspect of inspecting the home that I don't feel safe inspecting, then I'm not required to inspect those things. So that's where the walking on the roof thing comes in. Or there are certain electrical panels that were recalled a long time ago because they're known to be a safety hazard. If I see one of those, I just step back and say this needs to be fixed. I don't do any more inspecting on it than that.
Yeah. So when people are purchasing their homes, COVID had hit us.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure you're aware of that. But
What is COVID?
Yeah, never heard of it. But when that happened, homeowners or buyers were not able to do the inspection with you. How is that now? You became quite clever. You were doing virtual.
For a little bit. That was.
A little movie star.
That was rough.
I bet it was.
It added like an extra hour onto things. Whew, that was that.
Because you were the cameraman and the star,
And I finally got because initially it just happened, and so I had to like come up with on the fly, and Juno didn't have any like tripods with like camera holders, so I had to get like the little desk like squeegee ones, and it was just falling over all the time. And then I bought a tripod off of Amazon, and then it came, and then all the restrictions went away, and I haven't done one since then. So I was like,
You're so ready for a photo shoot, though.
I'm ready to go. If you want a virtual one, I've got the setup now, in theory.
Yeah. Well, and so can people come along now? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we still try to be cautious. I still ask for masks.
Yeah.
And then we do try to like limit it. We try not to have like the whole family there. If the seller wants to be present too, we normally ask the seller to, if they can, to step away, but also with people working in homes, that's not always an option. But we do try to like limit it. So we try to, again, not have your mother and your father there as well. And
it's so hard, though. It's such a big purchase.
It is such a big purchase, and we do everything we can. But we if possible, like I'm flexible. I normally say, let's limit it if we can, but I am also flexible and not too concerned about it.
Yeah.
Also, so.
Yeah, well, you can see where I stand from. I'm like, it's a big purchase. When I do stuff, my whole family's there. So, but I do strongly recommend that buyers are there for the inspection, because really you're getting a tour of your home in a way that you haven't seen it before. And the inspector is gonna kind of teach you how to maintain your house, because each home has its own personality.
Oh,
yeah.
Some of them are very quirky, and some of them are nice and rigid and straightforward, but there's not many of those.
Yeah.
Not in Juneau.
Wait, you said there aren't?
There aren't many of those. Not in Juneau.
Really? You don't feel like that's straightforward?
I guess.
Where are you from, Daniel?
Juneau. I've been here since 2002.
Okay.
So I've been here for a while.
Okay. So what's not straightforward about them?
Oh, it feels like there's always like some corners cut like by by contractors, or some interesting choices on how they set up wiring or outlets, or just there's a bunch of DIY stuff in Juneau.
What is that about? But I guess
personally, that's something I would do too. But then when you get to like the electric panel and you see some funky stuff, you're like, oh. That was a poor choice.
Please do not get creative there, okay? I guess it's because, and it's.
There's an independent sense in Alaska, in Juneau, where we're like, we can do it ourselves. We can take care of it. We can totally do it. And then if you don't always have. And sometimes you think you can do it when you don't know how and you don't ask for help, and so then things get a little quirky and awkward.
And you know what? YouTube just now came around,
True. So we're talking, the homes that were built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and people are DIYing. They can't just go on YouTube and say, how do I put this trim on properly? Or how do I put this...
They were checking Britannica back then, they had to figure it out on their own. So maybe that's what it is. That's what it is. And of course, with the lower resources, we don't always have contractors available too. So sometimes you just have to figure it out on your own.
For sure.
So you've looked at homes, of course, and you've seen things that have not been good or ideal or DIY gone wrong. What do you do when you see things like that?
So for me, I don't fix them for you. That's the most important thing. So when I come across something, even if it should be, so like for example, if there's something going on with a valve or something shut off and makes it so I can't test it, I don't operate the valves. If it's not something like normal operation of how you do it, I don't mess with it because of the liability risk of, I turn a valve that hasn't been turned a while and the valve breaks and water starts spraying everywhere.
It's all your fault.
Oh my goodness. and then it bends on me and we can cause a lot of damage that way. So that's the first thing I don't do is I don't fix it, even if it's a simple fix, even if it's something that it's like, why can't you just do that? I just don't, for a liability issue and also for time, because if I go fixing every little thing and I'm not a contractor, so you don't want me fixing your stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. But then if you're there with me and you're walking with me, I'm going to point it out to you. I'm going to explain what it is, why it's a problem. I'm going to rate it for you on a scale, or a 3-point scale, basically. We'll talk about this right now.
Okay.
So when I do an inspection for you, all the things, we call them defects. If there's a problem with the house, we call them defects. And there's going to be 3 main categories that your defects come in. You're going to have major defects. Those are the big ones. Those are the things like rot. Those are the things like structural problems. Those are the things like major important appliances like your heat not running. So those are the big ones. And a lot of times those ones tend to be costly as well. Then the next category of thing is health and safety. So things that have caused injuries or health problems in the past or considered to cause them. And those range all the way from the absolutely get this done right now to the I'm telling you this because for my liability I need to call it out, but you can do what you want with it.
Yeah.
And the gamut in between, and those can range from expensive to inexpensive, like replacing a GFCI outlet or something.
Yeah.
And then the last main category I have is maintenance items, and so this is a category that I was given by John Cooper as a option for the buyer to have more bargaining power, so that way not everything is showing up as a red ticket item. And so this is everything else in the home. This is anything that could be fixed, anything that should be fixed, but they don't rise to the same level of concern as the other 2 items. So for example, if you had a faucet and it was dripping, but the water's staying where it's supposed to, then that would be a maintenance item, because yes, it'd be nice if the faucet wasn't dripping, because that sound can drive you insane. But it's not going to cause your house to fall apart.
Yeah.
Whereas if that same faucet was dripping and there were a crack in the drain line, so the water's getting into your cabinet and then eventually seeping down into your flooring, that bumps it up to a major defect and it would get taken care of. There's some other categories that fit in between those ones, but they all fit in between those ones and are like a combination of the 2. So I will say, hey, here's a problem. Hey, here's why it's a problem. And then I'll normally say, well, but this is, and most of the issues we find in a house are going to be in the maintenance category. That's going to be 65, 75% of all the defects I'm going to find are going to be maintenance items. They're going to be the things that you could fix, maybe you even should fix, but they're not worth battling a war over.
Yeah.
With the seller. So I'll tell you that. I will possibly give you some tips of how to prevent it in the future, or especially if it's a maintenance item, like, don't fight the buyer on this. Here's some things you could do to repair it later. So I think that's basically what I do when I find it. And then ultimately it's going to show up in your report. So you don't have to remember it all. Like when I tell you things at an inspection, I'm not telling you because I expect you to remember them. I'm just telling you so they don't catch you off guard. So you're not like all of a sudden like, whoa, wait, I didn't know about that. And then they'll show up in the report with a picture, so you can see what I'm talking about as well as read what I'm talking about. And then I'll normally give a description of what's wrong, depending on the item, tell you why it's a problem, and then say how it should be going about getting fixed, whether you should have a professional come and fix it or whether it should just be fixed by someone.
Yeah, anybody out there. But I want to compliment you on your report because not all inspectors have nice comprehensive reports. Daniel's reports are like color-coded with categories, and he tells you exactly what to do. And then if you don't feel like reading the whole report, then he has a section like, you need to take care of these things section. Yep. So it's very, very comprehensive. So I just want to compliment you on that. And, you were talking about major defects and what's the other one? Health and safety. Now, those two things in particular, I would say buyers definitely need to take, attention to because, after the inspection, a few days later, you're going to have the appraiser come by, and the appraiser is going to pay attention to all these things as well because their job is to see whether or not this house is a good investment for them. They're going to not like major defects like the roof caving in or leaking.
Which you shouldn't either. But.
Yeah, I don't think you should like that. Or anything that has to do with health and safety, that's going to be a big no-no for them as well. Maintenance is just fun stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's a very detailed piece of paper to have, and it's good to have it during the lifetime of you owning the home. Yep. I think.
Because there are things you're not going to get fixed, before you buy the home, and so then you've got the list that you can come back and you can say, oh yeah, these are my summer projects that I'm working on this year.
Yeah. Wow, we went through just about everything. Yeah, we did. We went through everything on my list.
Already?
You're fantastic. Yeah,
Bam.
already.
Done.
Nice and easy. Were you nervous to do this? Not at all. You're a natural.
I got a little bit of a background in acting, so
Do you really?
Yeah, I've done some acting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't?
I didn't.
You didn't know that.
It's a thespian over here.
A little bit.
Well, so now, if people want to find you, how do they find you?
So main way you're going to find me is if you look up Shetke Home Inspections, LLC, or just Shetke Home Inspections. It'll bring you to, if you want to call it a website, it has my contact info there. I'll also be on, I'm also on the website for Internachi, which is one of the places I'm certified with. It's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors.
Okay.
And it's a nationally recognized set of organization put together by home inspectors, and and then they get walk there. That's actually where I got trained where I learned everything because I didn't actually have a background in this.
Oh wow!
I'm not normally most inspectors come into this. They come from a background of contracting, engineering, plumbing, electrician, something like that. I didn't. I actually got an inspection on my home by John Cooper. And in the process, the realtor said something about, sometimes you just got to wait like 2 or 3 weeks to get this done because there's just not many of them in town. And then later on, I was like, was needing to, and so then I got interested and I started looking into it and I started asking John questions. And then because I didn't have a background in it, I said, I need to learn some stuff.
Yeah.
That'll be another place you can find me. And then both those places should have my contact info. You can contact me also on my email address of shetkeyinspect@gmail.com, which my name is funny, but it's SCHETKY. Then you can always talk to your realtors. Most of them have me because there's only a handful of us. There's only like 3 or 4 of us right now.
Yeah. It's hard to And another compliment to you, because obviously I use Daniel quite a bit, but you're really easy to schedule. I'm probably the most difficult part in scheduling, but you can book Daniel within 3 days usually. And how long does it take for the
So normally I do my best. I give myself 3 days after the inspection. So not including the day I do the inspection, but 3 days after that. Is normally the latest that you'll ever get the report back. I normally try to turn it around faster than that. I have been known to get it done the same day. That's not. Don't expect that though. Yeah. That's special. And
I didn't know that, Daniel.
But yeah, I try to turn it around as quickly as I can for you. And then if something major comes up and it's going to be longer, then I will inform you and let you know. But yeah, I normally try to get it turned around in 3 days. And so then. So you can move forward and get your home bought.
Absolutely, and that's really important when you have an inspection period of 20 days. You want to get all that done really quickly. Well,
do you have any other questions
that's
for me?
it.
Any other thoughts?
That is it for me,
perfect.
So thank you for joining
You're
us
very
here
welcome.
on Juno's Open House, and have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.